Sport Football Podcast. It is me, your host, B-Hizzy, aka Brendan Hurst, and as always, I am joined by the Prez, Chris Mullaney. How are you doing, man?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Well, I mean, not great, but we'll deal with it. We do have a full slate of games to talk about. We're doing this all in one sitting today. I'm excited for it. You know, it's gonna be good. It's like there's only 13 games. It's not a huge deal. And we should be good to go. So, will we get started? We will start with that Thursday night game between the Eagles and Texans, where Philadelphia ran out as 29-17 winners.
Do you know, I've watched this to say every snap of that game because it was a weird game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Houston obviously lost, but looked competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I think with a better quarterback, they would have pushed them a bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm very impressed with Dameon Pierce. I mean,
oh yeah,
obviously we just see him clips of him on red zone. We don't see him as a whole in a game.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually played really well. I thought the Eagles' defense, though, did very well to bottle him up when they got the chance to.
Yeah, I think that he's not given up his bid for Offensive Rookie of the Year. That is one of my notes. He had 139 yards on 27 carries, which are both career highs for him. And the Texans were without Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins. So the game plan was to pound the rock with Pierce. And as a whole, Eagles couldn't really do anything with him. And that was partly down to Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jordan Davis not playing. He's on IR with an ankle injury, and as a result, the interior run defense was very poor and could potentially be how a couple teams down the line beat them over the next couple of weeks. He's on IR and won't be back until week 13 against the Titans. And will he be 100% at that point?
I mean, looking at that, I mean, what is it? I mean, next week for Philadelphia is Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them losing to Washington.
No.
I mean, we'll get on to Washington later on. I just think that there's a lot of teams in this league that think they can beat Philadelphia, but then they face Philadelphia and don't have a plan B.
Yeah.
You know, everyone says, oh, we'll just keep Jalen Hurts on the sidelines. That's difficult. He has to come on the field at some point. You know.
It's what was good to me is how the Eagles didn't play down to the opposition. It was nervy at times for them, and they got a couple punches in the mouth, and it was 14-14 at half. You know, so that kind of thing maybe demoralizes a team when you think, you know, it's the best team in football going up against the worst. But they obviously managed to fight back. They didn't falter, and you know, they came back to win. A lot of that was down to the play of Dallas Goedert. CJ Gardner-Johnson, and Javon Hargrave. Goddard had 8 catches for 100 yards and a score, as AJ Brown and Devonta Smith were pretty quiet. CJ Gardner-Johnson has 5 picks in the year, which is as many as he had in his first 47 career games. And Hargrave came up with 2 huge third down sacks of Davis Mills. So those plays, you know, the Eagles have players which can make important plays at big times. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not reliant on really, you know, the depth. That's what I'm trying to say. They've got a lot of depth that they can rely upon to make a play when they need it. And as a result, it wins. And you know, credit to the fans that went to this game, considering obviously 2 baseball teams that play in these cities were playing in the World Series, I think, on the same night. So
baseball, that's just roundels.
I like baseball. Baseball's kind of fun.
Well, it's better than watching the Packers right now.
Yeah, well, that is true. That is true. So you know, we said last week that the Texans were probably the worst team in the league. Don't know. They're competitive. I don't think, you know, I think it's probably still right. They don't do a lot of things well, but they played this team strong, and I suppose that's a moral victory. But it doesn't really mean anything. They still hold the number 1 overall pick, I think. Yeah, they do now, because obviously the Lions won. So
what they need to do during the draft: first pick, CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. That's a given. Second pick, they have to get a wide receiver. Third, 4, 5, 6, 7, just draft offensive linemen.
Yeah,
that's it. It's not difficult.
Yeah, you can protect the guy. Dameon Pierce is a bell cow that you can figure things out with. Their young quarterback can ease into his new facility maybe comes alive as he gets more comfortable in the offense. But I mean, they're going to have a new head coach next year as well, so it's going to look different again.
Yep.
All right, then. We'll keep moving on. We got the Chargers taking down the Falcons 20-17. And I thought that Josh Palmer made the most of his opportunities with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both absent. He had 8 catches for 106 yards. And he had a very, very important catch he took for 22 yards, which made up for essentially him causing an interception in the third quarter. Bounced off his hands and into the hands of a Falcons defender. So he was pretty good.
Do you know, the Chargers sneaked this. They did sneak it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I felt sorry for Atlanta. I thought they deserved to win that game, or at least take to overtime.
Yeah.
But when you've got Dicker the kicker, you know, you just signed off I think it was off waivers, or he joined that week or something. It wasn't.
Never heard of him before. So.
You know, that's the thing. I mean, we don't hear of kickers. We talk about quarterbacks and wide receivers and defensive linemen. I mean, name 8 kickers. You know, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Without obviously having time to think. You know,
that's it, exactly. You name 8 quarterbacks, no problem.
Exactly. I mean, we'll get onto that later on.
Yeah.
But I just thought that, you know, over the game, the Chargers are trying to just keep pacing that AFC West. I mean, now it's essentially now a two-way shootout between them and the Chiefs. I think the Chargers are going to have to get in the back door because I don't think they're going to win the division.
Yeah,
but they will make the playoffs. I mean, on fantasy, I think, you know, one guy won a trade for Keenan Allen, the other guy didn't. I mean, without Keenan Allen, I think the Chargers are very one-dimensional.
I think they rushed him back, and that was a huge mistake to bring him back. You know, before the bye week at the very least, that's a huge problem, and you know could hinder his recovery for the rest of the year. If they're out with him for the rest of the year, it's a problem. So, I think it's also time to have a talk about Justin Herbert. He went 20 for 26 for 160 yards, a touchdown and a pick on passes that had 0 to 9 air yards and averaged just 6.3 air yards per attempt. I mean, obviously was down his 2 top wide receivers, but the level of how he's regressed this year is just, I just didn't expect it from him. I had them winning the division pretty easily. I think it was 12-5 I put them at, and it's just not been the case.
So he's not elite then?
I don't know. I don't want to put it down to, I don't want to say he's not elite, but I just, haven't seen enough. I think that the way he's regressed, we were talking about it in the offseason, so if the Chargers miss the playoffs again, it's Justin Herbert on the hot seat. And, I don't like making excuses for a lot of these top tier quarterbacks because the best ones find ways to win no matter what. And I don't think they make the playoffs. I'm not gonna lie. I think this was a very worrying performance for the Chargers. When you factor in that, obviously they're banged up on defense, but it's not as if they don't have a lot of good players. I think Khalil Mack is having a resurgence. He could be defensive player of the year.
The Chargers right now.
And the Falcons combo of Patterson and Algier is a pretty legitimate 1-2 punch at running back. Algier had 11 touches for 123 all-purpose yards. So if Desmond Ridder is what the Falcons think he is, and they can find another top wide receiver to replace Calvin Ridley, we'll yet to see what we'll see from Drake London. But I think they could have some success over the next few years, especially with Tom Brady likely exiting and the Saints and Panthers in somewhat of a purgatory.
Oh, I mean, I'm telling you that Tyler Algier, what a find he's been for me anyway.
He's been fantasy. A player.
He's been one of the guys I've been relying on every week.
No, that's it. You can get, especially when Patterson's been out. He's taking the most of his opportunities.
That's it. Now Patterson's back. Maybe as long as he gets half the carries and finds the way into the end zone, he's doing his job.
Exactly. And if he continues to play like he has been, then I think that there's no reason why he would receive a shortage of carries.
Exactly.
Especially with it might take a couple of weeks for Cordell Patterson to get back up to 100%. So
yeah.
All right, then. Let's go on to the Dolphins beating the Bears 35-32 in a somewhat controversial game. A lot of people aren't happy with the referees.
Oh my God, we're going to have referee did this and the referee did that. You're a professional NFL player. Get on with it. The ref made a bad call. Deal with it.
Right? You see, the good teams rise above it, and the Bears were good in this one. Let's not discredit them in any way.
I mean, this is the thing. Referees make bad calls. They're human.
Exactly.
I mean, if you don't like the call, New York will deal with it or throw your challenge flag. I mean, before we got on to the Dolphins, Justin Fields. I don't want anybody anymore to talk about Lamar Jackson's a running back playing quarterback. That's exactly what Justin Fields is. It's almost like having Michael Vick.
Well, Justin Fields did break Michael Vick's record of most rushing yards in a game by a quarterback. I'm surprised Lamar Jackson hasn't got the top 4 of them or something like that. 178 yards on 15 carries for Justin Fields, and a score as well. He had 4 touchdowns on the day, 3 through the air. He wasn't great through the air, 17 for 28, 123 passing yards and 3 scores, but he's effective. Unfortunately, it didn't end in a result, but this is the thing. I think the Bears offense just was going to take this time to figure things out. And, they're a better offense than the Packers right now,
It's what we talk about on this show. Find your identity. They've clearly found that their identity. Matt Eberflus has clearly sat with Justin Fields and gone, look, son, you're crap. You can't throw that thing, but use your legs.
Yeah.
But, I thought the Bears, I still maintain what I said 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I think the Bears will finish second in that division.
I think so.
And it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. I think if they played the Packers again, I think they'd win.
We do in week 13, I think it is. Which
I'll be watching the Browns.
Aye. On with the Dolphins, they tore apart the deconstructed Bears defense, obviously down their top 2 players, 2 of the best defensive players in the league, really. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, open literally all the time. Hill had 7 catches for 143 yards in a score, is the first receiver to hit 1,000 receiving yards this year, and with 1,104 yards in the season, it's the most ever put up by a wide receiver through 9 games in NFL history. Jalen Waddle had 5 catches for 85 yards in a score. Wasn't a perfect performance by this offense. They missed a field goal attempt, had 2 turnovers. That kept the Bears in it and close, but overall, nice win for the Dolphins. That is that them top of the? No, they'll be 1 game out from tied with the Jets now, aren't they?
No, it's a 3-way shootout in that division. Buffalo, Miami, and New York.
And the Patriots aren't far behind, to be honest. That is.
Wait a minute. Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets are all 6-3. Pats are 5-4.
I think the Bills are 6-2.
6 and whatever.
Yeah, well, I think they are still top, but only because they've got less losses than the Jets and the Dolphins. Just think if Tua didn't get hurt.
I know. Sorry, they're a half game out. Because last night on Monday Night Football, they showed the wrong graphic. That's why.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah, blame the tools. That's fine.
Yes.
I mean, just think if Tua didn't get hurt. Do you know what I mean? This Dolphins team could be 7-1.
They could be, but then again, next man up.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think wide receiver, tight end, running back, next man up works. Quarterback is very different.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, basically, you look at any other team, say Tampa Bay go next man up. Well, who is it? Kyle Trask. I think the only team really in this league where the backup quarterbacks benefited has been New Orleans, but we'll get to them later on.
All right, then. We'll power through some more games here. We've got the Bengals winning 42-21 against the Carolina Panthers. The Bengals had more points at halftime than the Panthers had yards, 35-32. Kind of says it all about this one. Joe Mixon, Bengals run game had a breakout performance, possibly one that sends them on a tear for the rest of the season. He finished with 211 scrimmage yards and 5 all-purpose touchdowns.
But your little pal only scored 1.
Does it matter? He clearly didn't need to throw it.
So he's not elite then? He leaned on his running back.
No, the Panthers' run defense just clearly sucks. To allow a team that had averaged 89 rushing yards per game this season to have, essentially, I think it was just shy of 204 rushing touchdowns. If it works, I don't think the Bengals had to come out of first gear, to be honest.
No, definitely no. I think when you've got, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And clearly the running game wasn't broke yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not Sunday. Sorry, let's not fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Cincinnati played very well.
Yeah.
I mean, bloody hell, anybody was going up against Joe Mixon on fantasy.
Yeah, of course, it's the only guy that's left undefeated in our league has Joe Mixon.
No, the only guy undefeated in our league's cheating. I mean, have you seen his team?
Have you seen my team? My team's stacked. The best fantasy team I've ever had, and I'm 5-4.
I'm 5-4 as well.
I know.
I'm looking though at trading with my opponent this week for someone.
All right. Okay. Interesting.
If he's hoping to tank, I'll take Jalen Waddle off him.
We talk about the Panthers. I mean, diabolical. What a change of pace from last week and the week before, really.
As I say, I'll need to dig out my loyalty card because I've got the Panthers and the Falcons on Thursday. Oh, I'm excited.
I might watch that at the airport. We shall see.
Oh, at least you've got alcohol.
Not at that time in the morning.
Oh, no, you can in the airport.
Can you? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. When we went to Paris, me, Danny, and Emily, we were sitting with cider at folding them on them.
Was Emily as well?
Danny. Yeah? No, not me, just me and Danny. We're putting the social on me.
I mean, I think it's a little bit more concerning that a young Scottish child at 5 years old hasn't tried cider yet.
Well, I would say so, yeah. She's only 2 at the time, though.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I mean,
I mean, she did get offered the choice, your normal milk, Coca-Cola, or cider. And she picked the Coca-Cola.
Well, good on her. All right, Panthers. Baker Mayfield came on in place of PJ Walker, who had 2 very hideous interceptions early on. Mayfield had his best game as a Panther. He led 3 straight touchdown drives, didn't turn the ball over, but it was against a defense that was up by 35 on 2 separate occasions and took their foot off the gas by pulling out starters late on. So I don't give Baker Mayfield much credit for that. Like I say, I'm off the train for him. And I think
PJ Walker's due to start Thursday.
Yeah, I think that the Bengals defense is great, right? And I think that PJ Walker, this game shouldn't be determinant of if he doesn't start another game this year because he's clearly the best option they've got. This game's just, great defense against an inexperienced quarterback.
Can I put my GM hat on again?
Go for it.
I think what the Panthers should do right now is tank.
Yeah.
Try and get as close as you possibly can to that number 2 overall pick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you don't need a quarterback.
Yeah.
They don't. PJ Walker is with a full off season behind him and preseason and weapons.
And stability.
He would look okay.
Mm-hmm.
So take the number 2 pick and trade the thing for multiple picks and players.
Or get the best player in the draft. Or would it not be best to get the best player in the draft like Will Anderson? Although you could look at a team. Sorry, it just occurred to me there. You could look at a team, if they do finish with the second overall pick, and the Lions have got the third or the fourth overall pick, it could be that, Will Anderson's maybe sitting there at 4 if the Lions trade ahead of them.
Well, you look at that. If you see the Lions have got the third and fourth pick.
No, it was just hypothetically, if they were to finish the season with the third or the fourth overall pick.
Right. Well, if they finish with the third or the fourth overall pick, the Lions are taking a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. So you could trade down with them.
Yeah, trade down with them, and then Will Anderson's still sitting there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You always have to look at where would you ultimately end up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The only problem is to move up one slot, you might not get as much as you might get for a team jumping maybe 5 or 6 places.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At least next year we can do a live draft.
Yes, fingers crossed.
That'll be working.
But yeah, this Panthers team, I agree with you. I think they should shut it down and just see where they end up for April for the draft.
Yep.
All right, we will keep rolling here. Here we go. Packers 9, Panthers, Lions 15.
Do you want me to go first? So to let you go.
You can go first.
Aaron Rodgers has bailed out. He has bailed out.
Yeah.
He basically, I mean, to throw 1 interception, fine. 2, okay, I can legislate. 3 is embarrassing. 2 in the red zone.
Yeah. He's never done that before in his career.
I mean, can I ask something? What has Aaron Jones done wrong? Run with the bloody thing. Mm-hmm. Run with it. Run forward. Not difficult.
I know. It blows my mind considering how well Aaron Jones played in Buffalo. And
then your head coach comes out and goes, well, we tried to get the run game going. No, you didn't.
I'm at my wit's end. Aaron Jones, to be fair, Aaron Jones in the second half, I think he had an ankle problem. X-rays have come back negative, so I think he's going to be okay and should play this week. But I think they were wanting to hold him out for that. But and in that case, because X-rays came back inconclusive at the time, but further tests proved he's okay. But that can't be said the same for a lot of other guys. I think the Packers are officially cooked now. Rashan Gary lost for the year with a torn ACL, being their best defensive player this year. Romeo Dobbs going to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. He should probably go on injured reserve. And, a leg injury, especially a high ankle sprain for a receiver, he's probably not going to be right again this year. So you can kind of write him off, really. Eric Stokes left the game early. I haven't actually seen much more about him. But that kind of.
You want to go to Green Bay?
I know. It's it's a problem with the Packers. I think they're just going to lose too many guys here, and I mean this losing streak is now at 5. It could be 8, to be quite honest, in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, hopefully, and I don't mean this in a horrible way, I hope Tony Pollard goes, 160 yards and 4 scores would be great. I've got him in fantasy, funnily enough.
I thought so.
And then the week after, I just hope your defense holds the Titans to field goals. Well, funnily enough, I've got Randy Bullock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Malik Willis is still playing for the Titans at quarterback, maybe we've got a shot, but I mean, who knows?
Well, the thing is, they'll just tell him to turn around and hand that thing to 22 and he'll blitz your defense. I mean, your defense is crap.
It's atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
You said nobody else that it was elite.
No,
so clearly,
I stand by what I said at the start of the season. That defense, the names on that defense are amazing, right? The names, that's what I was meaning, right? And you think when you put a lot of great names together, you think you're going to get a great end product, and it just hasn't gelled. This isn't our year. It's that simple. I'm a grown man. I'm a big boy. I can take that. I can admit that I was wrong, but I'm not wrong about the Packers defense having great players. It just hasn't meshed together properly.
Yeah, that's it. And you can have the best players in the world. I mean, I mean, it's very difficult to go. Here's a great defense I would love, but you know, it's like having Aaron Donald and Von Miller and, you know, Bradley Chubb and, you know, Fletcher Cox, you know, and then having it at your back end, you know, sitting with Harrison Smith or Derwin James. You know, you can have all the best players in the NFL on defense, offense, but when they can't do anything, it's hard.
Yeah, you know,
and I don't even want to give the Lions credit here because they didn't actually do an awful lot.
Yeah, on offense, they were just useless. The defense was what really, you know, Packers should have been winning. You know, you know, they essentially had 3 touchdowns ripped away from them because of the Lions. Could have been more. The Packers should have won this game. Like, and it's evident with the things that went the wrong way for them. You know, the 2 picks in the red zone for Aaron Rodgers. The second one, I'm confused about. I don't know why on earth that gets thrown to David Bakhtiari. You're throwing the kitchen sink at them at this point. But very, very strange.
Freak them out a bit.
He misses the throw to Samori Toure. I was at a loss for words.
See when that play happens and they go number 68's eligible. Number right, it's clearly and obvious they're going to throw to him. You know, the PA announcers basically told them where they're going to throw to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's it.
The Packers once they fall behind, struggle.
Yeah, you know they couldn't put up double-digit points against the worst defense in league history. That's, you know, clearly a massive concern. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 picks, something he's ever only done 4 times in his career before this game. That's quite impressive. You know, and then this included obviously 2 in the red zone. He's never done that before. I think that this loss was the first one this season which was mostly on him, because last week in Buffalo didn't have a lot to work with. Commanders, he was all right, not great, right? The Jets game, yeah, he was rubbish, but the offensive line didn't help. I think that might have been the game we didn't have David Bakhtiari in. I can't quite remember. And then obviously the Giants in London, they weren't interested anyway. So, you know, this is the first game this season where I'm putting this loss mostly on Aaron Rodgers, because the defense, you know, did come up in spots when they needed to. Against the Lions offense, which has been good at home this year and been explosive. They dealt well with. There was a couple 4th down stops they got. They gave the offense the chance, and that's all you can really ask for your defense at that point. And you know, on the other day, holding it off an NFL offense to 15 points. That's a great day at the office, to be honest.
Yeah. Now I think next week later on this week when we preview next week, your points allowed stat's going to look brilliant, but it still results in L's, and I don't know what Green Bay have to do now. I mean, we're talking about sneaking in the back door. They might not even get outside.
Yeah, it's going to take a miracle for this. There's going to have to be some vintage Rodgers, and just with all the injuries that are piling up, I don't know. I think, to be quite honest, at the end of this next 3 weeks, I think we could see Jordan Love, to be quite honest.
Yes or no question. In the off season, do you fire Matt LaFleur?
No, absolutely not. No way.
Right. Just thought I'd ask.
No, it's fair enough. No, he's done enough to buy himself a bad year, which, you know, he's been a factor of as well. It's not as if it's been out of his control with guys dropping like flies left, right, center, because to an extent, the main guys have all stayed healthy. Jair Alexander's pretty much played all the games. Aaron Rodgers obviously been in there. Aaron Jones has played every game. So, you know, I don't think now would be the right time to talk about Matt LaFleur being relieved of his duties. I think he's going to have to get rid of Joe Barry. I think he needs a better look at offensive coordinators. Maybe Nathaniel Hackett could come back. Maybe if he gets the sack from Denver.
Frank Reich.
That'd be interesting. All right. Well, we've got time for one more, and we'll go for a quick break. We have the Raiders dropping another one to the Jags, 27-20. You can't be too upset about this one, you know?
Oh, I'm not upset. I'm upset with the missus though. As we said last week on the show, we're talking about letters that my kid has to learn. This week she had R. She found Aaron Rodgers. She found the Raiders. She found the Rams. Then she found a picture of Adams and Carr and put underneath it, rotten.
Yes. I love it.
She went, is that not your wee guy? And I said, it's not my wee guy. No, Derek. But he was rubbish on Sunday. It basically gave it to that guy 17. He scored all the time, and then they didn't stop anybody.
Yeah. They blew another 17-point lead.
Yeah, but Travis Etienne, another find that I have. That's the difference between me winning this week and me losing this week was Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Because at one point, I think my Travis Etienne had 0.40 points. That's what he had. He finished with 31.6.
There you go. That's what you need. Maybe you've been asking the wrong questions about who's going to pick you up a jersey or what jersey you're going to get picked up when your family goes to the States. I think it's Travis Etienne you need to pick up.
She's not going to Florida.
I should be able to get it at a shop.
See, because she's going to Vegas, I normally get one of in the city.
Fair enough.
If she was going to Kansas, it would be a Kansas jersey. If she was going to, I'm trying to think, if she was going maybe somewhere like, Minnesota, it'd be Minnesota. It'd also be bloody weird to go to Minnesota. There's nothing there, but that's the only reason why I'm getting a Raiders jersey.
No, it's quite right. Fair enough. Maybe get your Travis Etienne jersey from DHgate. I'll keep putting you on.
Oh, honestly, do you know what? It's weird, isn't it? People say, you have to get the quarterback's jersey. See when your running back's better. I might actually get one of the guys I know, the plumber we had on 2 weeks ago doing our picks. He's going to Titans Jags last day, so I might get him to get me Travis Etienne.
There you go.
The Jags are losing games that they should win. I think Raiders are in trouble. McDaniels is going to get fired.
He's a clown. He should be one and done.
It's one of these. They say, fire the coach, fire the coach, fire the coach. It's who do you then replace him with? If he gets fired, it's going to be Frank Reich or Lincoln Riley.
It's got to be better. Do you know what I mean? The Raiders, they blew a 17-point lead. Another one this year. That's 3. Jaguars scored on 4 consecutive drives to pull ahead 24-20 in the third quarter. Trevor Lawrence was great on third downs. Jags converted 9 of 15. What more can you ask, really? But yeah, Josh McDaniels, absolute clown. He should be one and done. Devontae Adams had 1 catch for 0 yards on 6 targets in the second half. Derek Carr missed several high percentage throws as the Raiders had just 4 downs in the 4 first downs in the second half. And I'm just, we our friend of the show Scott, he says that he'd take Jordan Love over Derek Carr at this point. I think, how could it be any worse?
I don't think it's all on Derek Carr.
I don't think it is. But when he can't make some throws we've seen him make over the years, with the best receiver in football getting 1 catch,
I think it's now because he's got this elite receiver. A lot of teams do it where they have this star receiver and they lean on him. I just think that the Raiders are struggling. And I had them at the start of the season to win the division. I thought this year could be the year that they finally take over that AFC West, and it just hasn't happened. And I'm not blaming Derek Carr. I'm not blaming Devontae Adams. Not blaming the defense. Not blaming Josh Jacobs. I'm blaming the guy who calls plays. He's supposed to be an offensive genius. Proximity to greatness does not equal greatness.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It does in your case. Kerry's great. That's why you look great. But, I look great because my missus looks great. That's it.
There you go. Well, we make each other great because we're on the same podcast.
Yes, I mean, I make you great, of course. You know.
Okay.
I mean, you were nothing until I came along.
It's true. We had 0 YouTube views before you came along, and now we've got loads.
Exactly. Although my wee one did find us on YouTube.
Is she the one that's been spamming all the views?
Oh no, I watched last week's or 2 weeks ago's one because I wanted to see my face when I had that rant. That was it.
Yeah.
But my wee one, she found us on YouTube.
There you go.
She went, "Daddy, you're on YouTube." I went, "Am I?" Like, I didn't know. Like, I knew it was on the Let's Talk Sports network. Check them out at Let Talk Sport.
That's right.
But I didn't realize we had our own YouTube
did you
channel.
not? Oh, well, there you go. Of course. Yes, we have our own. We have our own. That could be the move for the future. Hint, hint. We will see. All right. Yeah. Well, that is everything for this game, unless you have anything.
No, nothing else.
That's it. Right. We'll go for a short break, and then we're back. We'll hit the rest of these games on the Sunday, Monday. Sunday night slate, and the Monday night slate. Right then, Patriots 26, Colts 3. Big loss for the Colts there.
Well, and it ultimately cost Frank Reich his job. The Colts have major issues. I mean, I don't ever think they should have benched Matt Ryan.
He was their best option.
Clearly not the answer either. With no running game, I mean, I'm surprised they put up 3 points, to be honest.
Yeah. They went 0 for 14 on third downs. One of the worst defensive performances in NFL history by that metric. Ellinger was sacked 9 times. He threw a late pick 6. No Jonathan Taylor didn't help, but this was pretty atrocious. Perhaps the loss of Nick Sirianni as defensive coordinator has been a bigger factor for the Colts than initially expected. You know, in 2020, that was his last year there. They were 9th in points for and 10th in yards for. Last year, with Carson Wentz, they were 9th in points for, so no change there, but 16th in yards for, so bit of a change, bit of a drop there. And then this year, so far, they're 32nd in points for and 27th in yards for, which, you know, is a monumental drop-off. And we all had a lot of optimism for the Colts going into the season. We know, me and you both were in agreement about them winning the division.
Yep. And, you know, I think we all expected, though, Jonathan Taylor to pop, and he's just not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Colts, just have to get through this season. That's it.
Yeah.
Playoffs done. You're not going to make the playoffs.
I don't think they'll catch the Titans.
Just now go and try and get as high a draft pick as you can.
I mean, on the other side, the Patriots, they were pretty rubbish as well on offense. Mac Jones struggled to throw the ball. The team's too dependent on Ramondre Stevenson, and they didn't have a drive longer than 42 yards. I think Bailey Zappi should come back in. I don't think he can do any worse.
But then what Bill Belichick's then admitting is he made a whiff on Mac Jones.
Not necessarily. I guess it's just more like a spark that they could do with right now.
But what if Bailey Zappi comes in and stinks it up?
Yeah.
Do you then go, we have to go back to Mac Jones?
I know, I suppose. I do think we see Bailey Zappi again before the season ends.
Yeah.
You know, despite this win, it's not a formula which can be sustained.
No, I don't think so.
I think against a team like any other of the 3 teams in the AFC East would beat them, would punish them.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yep.
You know, as you alluded to, the Colts did fire Frank Reich after a 3-5-1 start. Probably the right move, but it's the most horrendous case of organizational mismanagement by a team. They allowed him to start every season with a new starting quarterback in week 1. I mean, and he'd done a hell of a job to deal with that. That just can't happen. You know, this goes back to before he was even there. Had they bothered to get him more protection when Andrew Luck was there, maybe Andrew Luck's still playing right now, and they've got an elite quarterback, which is getting to the playoffs every year, and Frank Reich still got a job.
Maybe, but as it all on the coach? He can only execute a game plan. The players that have to. He can only put a plan in place. The players have to then go out and execute it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. It's true, but I think that I could get maybe 3 different starting quarterbacks over 5 years, right? That's my maximum, right? Okay, things don't work out. Maybe a guy's hurt. I don't know, but 5 in 5 years, nah, that can't be happening.
Okay.
Just my opinion, but they have replaced him with former center Jeff Saturday, which I don't know if that's in contravention of the Rooney Rule, which is not a good look. Could be wrong, but it kind of seemed like it just, yeah.
I think what they've done is they've brought someone in who's in the building because there's nobody else available.
Yeah. Well, regardless, win for the Patriots, but not in very, despite the scoreline, it's not the most convincing fashion. No. Just a defensive performance for them, really.
Yep.
All right, then. Here's another big shock of the weekend. Bills 17, Jets 20.
I said on the show last week, 3 teams in this AFC can beat Buffalo, or in the NFL can beat Buffalo. The Chiefs, Philadelphia, and Buffalo. And Buffalo beat themselves again.
Yep.
That's another loss in a game they should have won comfortably.
Yeah. Josh Allen, another very, very sloppy game. This time it was punished by a better team. 2 bad interceptions. He finished the first half with 163 passing yards and finished the game with just 205. That kind of, inefficiency, that just can't be happening, against a team which, the Bills are now 0-2 in the division. So if they drop another, this could spell trouble for them. And we were saying just a few weeks ago, this is their Super Bowl to lose, and they just haven't been convincing. When you say, everybody says, oh, who have Philadelphia beaten? No, they've beaten this, that, and the next thing. Whereas the thing is, the Bills can't even beat the teams they should be beating. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. I mean, the Jets, though, I said on the show way back, when we did the predictions, the Jets, this is a lost year. We whiffed on that, didn't I?
There you go.
This could be a weird division where 2 teams could miss out in the playoffs and winning records.
Yeah.
I mean, or it could be one of those divisions where, the 5, 6, and 7 seed all come for the AFC.
Could you imagine that? All 4 teams in the AFC make the playoffs.
Considering that was supposed to just be Buffalo, Miami, and the rest.
Yeah.
I just think Buffalo are on a bit of a slide right now. They're relying too much on Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. They've no running game.
Yep. If Josh Allen, he did run for 2 scores in this game, but he is being evaluated for an elbow injury, the UCL ligament, the ulcer. I don't know.
Thank you, doctor.
Yep, that's the technical term. But it's a UCL injury in his elbow, and Case Keenum's the backup in Buffalo. That would not be good. That's that's where it comes into the territory where it's like,
Case Keenum
took
Minnesota to within 1 play of the Super Bowl. I like how you just glossed over that there.
Well, I don't care for it, to be quite honest. It wasn't a valid year. It was a Mickey Mouse year in the NFC North because Aaron Rodgers was hurt. So that's what happens.
Okay, no problem at all.
But yeah, if he's missing time, it's a problem because he's one of the toughest guys in the league, and it gets to the point where that we said that if the Bills drop another, that's going to be a problem because they'll then provided the Jets and Dolphins keep winning, that means they could drop to 3rd in the division for one thing, and even potentially bottom because they haven't played the Patriots yet.
And of course, in that AFC, especially out in the East, You want to be at home in the playoffs. You want to be cold and wet and windy and snowy and everything else in the world.
But yeah, if you know that possibility where they drop another becomes a realistic thing. I'm not saying they're going to miss the playoffs by any stretch. I think they're far too talented. But
they could lose next week.
Who do they play next week?
1 o'clock, Kirk.
Oh well, there you go. I'd be surprised, but we shall see. We shall see. Here's a hot take. I'm not giving a really big one in a while. Jets defense is the best in the league.
Oh,
it is the best in the league. This is 2015 levels, 2015 Broncos levels of dominance, as they carry a very up and down stuttering offense. Sauce Gardner had a pick and a pass breakup. DJ Reed, CJ Mosley, excellent at linebacker. Jermaine Johnson annoyed Josh Allen all day. It's a perfect recipe. This is the best defense in the league because of, they've got names, but they've also got the coach which can back them up. I don't think many teams in the league have both.
But could they beat the Eagles?
I don't think so. It would have to see. That'd be an interesting one. Maybe that'd be the Super Bowl.
Oh, I don't think so.
But yeah, more on the Jets. I can't talk highly enough about them. This was really, really impressive. I think that these running backs, the duo of Michael Carter and James Robinson, they could survive without Breece Hall. Now, this is a game that I'm going to take with not just a pinch of salt, a handful of salt, because the Bills were without Matt Milano. He did miss this game for injury. He's their best run stopper. But Carter and Robinson, it sounds like a law firm, doesn't it? Carter and Robinson. Carter had 12 carries for 76 yards and a score. Robinson had 13 carries for 48 yards. That's an impressive feat. Obviously, Zach Wilson struggling to an extent again. So very, very good performance by the Jets, and they're for real. We said in week 3 that if the Dolphins can stick around or even beat the Bills, this is where it goes. We can say that the Dolphins are for real in the AFC East. Well, the Jets have just done it as well. They're for real in the AFC East. I think so. I think all 4 of these teams, I think you could be right, all 4 of these teams could make the playoffs.
Yep.
The Patriots, I think, have probably got the most work to do, but when, we talk about Bill Belichick and how important he is to the team, I wouldn't count them out.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
All right, here is your man, 1 o'clock Kirk. Vikings 20, Commanders 17. And just before you get into the Kirk love, I just want to say this game is another testament as to why I won't trust this Vikings team in January. Almost a very, very hideous loss. I mean, they were down 17-7 at one point. They finally got Justin Jefferson involved. He had his first touchdown since week 1. But then they had 6 punts and a pick on their next 7 possessions. And that pick was a pick 6, actually, as well. They didn't score again until the 4th quarter. That's a huge problem to me. And against better teams, Philadelphia, we've already seen them. I know you don't count it, but we've already seen them. At Dallas, you can see it like a Giants, the Seahawks, all these teams could play the Vikings very, very hard, even if it is on the road.
Kirk Cousins is for real. Kirk Cousins is elite. Kirk Cousins is going to take this team to at least the NFC title game.
I could get behind that. They'll have a tough way there.
No, they're going to be there.
You think?
Yep.
I mean, it's possible, but I wouldn't. I can't trust it. And that's not me being a biased Packers fan. That's not anything. But there's just too many of these games that they just are so sloppy in. And I said this with the Bills. A good team will punish them.
But to be 17-7 down and come back shows mental toughness.
Or does it just show that the Commanders made a lot of mistakes? I think it does.
Technically, what was it, 20 points to 17? Technically, it was 20 points to 10.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the official wiped out Harrison Smith. Should have been taken off the board. I mean, 12 men on the field. The official should just throw a black and white jersey over and showed his Commander's jersey. Wiping him out.
Yeah.
But Kirk Cousins is for real. I don't want him to have to face Daniel Jones.
So conflicted.
It's weird, isn't it?
Look, I think that there's a lot of these teams the Vikings are facing, and it's a point where those teams are beating themselves. Taylor Heineke, bad fourth quarter interception, but the problems were very prevalent before this. Benjamin St. Just was flagged for defensive pass interference. That led to a field goal, which cut the score to 17-10. John Ridgway then made contact with the long snapper on a field goal, which would have put the Vikings up 20-17. They did make it, but the Vikings got a fresh set of downs because of that. Were able to bleed the clock out and then kick the game winner. So on another day, the Commanders win this one, and I don't think it's particularly close. And I'm really trying not to be a biased Packers fan or anything, but I think even a lot of them a lot of Vikings fans would say this game could have been a disaster. No, it doesn't matter because you're still going to win the division.
Well, they say grit and determination is a mark of a championship winning team.
No, it's true. They didn't give up. They didn't know they were beat. Yeah,
and I mean, some people don't know I like Kirk Cousins, so
we can't tell.
Yeah, right. That's 2 quarterbacks with number 8 in the NFC. I quite like.
You've got number 8, number 4, and number 16, and number 1.
Number 8, Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins.
Derek Carr.
16, Derek Carr.
Yep. All right, that's the end of the early games. So 8 games in the early window. Now we've got 2 games in the late one. Seahawks 31, Cardinals 21.
Good, the Seahawks won. Would you want a medal? Here's my hot take. Cliff Kingsbury is getting fired at the end of the season, and Sean Payton's coming in.
That'd be interesting. Like to see that.
Sean Payton's coming in, and then they're going to trade for Michael Thomas.
I mean, to be honest, I think Michael Thomas might get released.
Well, don't have to trade for him then, do you?
Exactly.
Robbie Anderson's a bust.
Oh, yeah. That was a terrible, terrible move.
Robbie Anderson's a joke. They're missing Hollywood Brown. Cards defense is for real.
Another pick 6 in this game.
Kyler Murray shouldn't be wearing a Cardinals jersey. Should be wearing a mask and a striped jumper. What he basically doing is he's taking money under false pretenses.
Yep.
Yeah. He is not a $46 million a year quarterback.
Yep.
I wouldn't give you £46 for him right now.
Yeah.
He's a disaster.
He's been a problem. The Cardinals and Kyler Murray. The Cardinals and Kyler Murray.
Call of Duty.
I was just going to say that. Cardinals and Kyler Murray are 0-2 since Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 came out.
I saw that meme earlier.
Very good game, by the way. Campaign's very good. Nostalgia. It's awesome. Okay. Haven't played multiplayer yet, so looking forward to getting on to that at some point. Maybe tomorrow.
You need friends to play that.
That's true. I did have the boys from work, and he said, "Oh, we'll hit up Warzone 2 and we'll hit up multiplayer, and because it's all cross-play now and everything." And I try to get them to go and play pro clubs a couple weeks ago. Nothing. So regardless, doesn't really matter. This one, I agree with you. Cliff Kingsbury is going to get fired at the end of the year if this keeps going the way it's going to go. And I think he needs to go regardless. This goes beyond defensive inconsistency, which is what a lot of people have labeled the Cardinals so far this year. It's more like just offensive ineptitude. They score their first opening drive touchdown of the year, and then have 3 straight punts, a fumble, and then another 3 more punts. You know, what can a defense do to keep you in a game when you can't be doing that? And yeah, Kyler Murray is chewing guys out on the sidelines. This, he's that, he's the next thing. But you know, and you know, he made some good plays. But when it comes down to it, a lot of it is on him as well. I think he had a bad interception in this one. But I mean, the Seahawks defense. The Seahawks in general has been really good. Geno Smith is legit, right? I think it's at that point now, the conversations where the Seahawks could probably pass on a quarterback next year. I mean, I don't think they're going to be in a position to get one of the top guys anyway. But I think that they can roll with Geno Smith. They get, obviously, they can continue reinforcing that offensive line. They've got two amazing wide receivers that, probably the Seahawks and the Dolphins have probably got the best two wide receiver pairing in the league.
Yeah.
I think, with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And I think that this, they've got the running back. They could just focus on reinforcing that offensive line. And the defense, they can address that in free agency. And, the Seahawks could win 5 divisions in the next 5 years, because I just, you remember that off-season show we did where we thought about which team is going to do, a 5-year outlook for the 10 bad teams. The Seahawks, I think we're up the top there. I like the value for that. I think it was me that got them. I think I took them second, if I can't quite say. But I never expected it to be this good. The Seahawks will make the playoffs this year, and they could make the playoffs 5 times the next 5 years. And that was what we were going for with that exercise. Was our top pick, we think will probably has the best chance to make the playoffs 5 out of 5 over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And
Denver was number 1.
Denver was number 1, yeah. Excuse me. But he had an excellent second half after his pick 6. They were pretty inconsistent start, but they went 13 plays, 75-yard drive to get back in the lead. He went 10 for 12, 123 yards and a score after the pick 6. So, yeah, we say, could Geno Smith win Comeback Player of the Year? Was he ever really here to win Comeback Player of the Year? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, what do you give him at that point? Maybe it is. Maybe it just is Comeback Player of the Year.
He's not going to be MVP.
No. But he's been the Seahawks' best player, at least over the past 5 games. He's been immense.
MVP is going to be one of the guys wearing number 8.
Calma. Let's come on now.
Lamar Jackson's elite.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm.
There you go.
I just actually want to say as well, I think Pete Carroll is probably Brian Daboll's closest rival to Coach of the Year.
Kevin
and I think
Connell.
You see, the record's good, but they haven't been convincing. It's very, I said this a couple of weeks ago, it's very 2019 Packers to me. Their record's great. They're beating teams they should be beating, but none of it was convincing. It was very, 5-point wins here against the Washington Commanders. Not a good look in my books.
Okay.
So, I wouldn't rule him out. I think maybe he could be up there for 3rd, just on the record, because 7-1 is still an achievement, regardless of how you do it. And
exactly.
Winning the division your first year maybe takes you ahead of Brian Daboll for essentially that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think that Pete Carroll's probably the closest rival to Brian Daboll right now. And to be honest, I'd probably put Pete Carroll ahead of Brian Daboll right now if I really think about it, because the Seahawks did beat the Giants and it wasn't particularly close. So
but Daniel had an off day.
It's true. All right. Well, we'll keep going here. We have just 3 more games to go. Rams 13, Buccaneers 16. Vintage Tom Brady leads.
Divorce is the answer.
Hmm?
Divorce is the answer.
Yeah, fellas. Giselle divorced him even though he had a job. Stay toxic, fellas. We just can't do anything to keep them happy.
Yeah. Can you listen to this show?
No, not anymore. Because I'm not joking about this, right? She stopped listening about 3/4 of the way through the off season because, and I quote, she said, if she started a makeup podcast, would I listen to it? I clearly said no. So now it's out of petty. That's why she doesn't listen.
I'm going to mail her to listen to this. And I'm actually going to point out to the bit. I'm actually going to even send her the link from the clip.
The timestamp.
What you have just said there is stay toxic, fellas.
I say it's all satire.
Dumped in the morning. You're getting dumped in the morning. I would go in the spare room if I was you tonight.
I'll maybe buy her something at Lambeau Field. We'll see.
Well,
Yeah,
you might even get the starting QB job or defensive coordinator.
Just Indeed application for a wide receiver needed in Green Bay, Wisconsin immediately.
Maybe.
Onto this game. Vintage Tom Brady, game-winning drive, seals the deal for the Buccaneers and snaps their 3-game losing streak. They couldn't move the ball all day, but when they got it back, 44 seconds left, no timeouts, down 13-9. Tom Brady made it count, made it happen when it counts the most, as he has always done. 6 plays, 60-yard touchdown drive. Bucks win. Bucks take the lead in the NFC South at 4-5, which isn't a good look. But now we've been saying for weeks, right? The Buccaneers are going to figure things out. They're going to figure things out, and it's just, when's it going to happen? And now this is it. This is the performance they can build on, because it wasn't pretty, but they still won. And they can go on a run now. They can take 11-6. They could finish,
but they now have a tough game next week.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Seattle in Germany.
Yeah.
Wait, Seattle's playing well. They could beat the Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For
sure. So
I think within that NFC West, I think if Seattle lose, it lets Arizona back in with one last chance. If they win, it's between them and the 49ers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think so. With the Rams, I think this offense has to be making Sean McVay pull his hair out. I think he could possibly quit after this year, get his broadcaster money, because he's won his ring. And this team just doesn't seem to be having any fight for him at all. They didn't have one play in the Buccaneers half in the first 2 quarters. They went 3 and out 8 times. They can't run the ball. The offensive line's a turnstile. It just can't get any worse for this guy, who, through his first 5 years has just had, historically amazing offenses,
It's his fault.
Yeah.
It's his fault. He said there's nothing wrong with Matt Stafford's elbow. Clearly there is.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
But great win for the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
They'll build on this. Rams could be picking the top 10 next year.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. It's not looking pretty for them right now. So interesting to see where it goes. I mean, they've only really got Cooper Kupp, and haven't really, go back to Cam Akers with the tail between their legs, saying he was never essentially saying he was never going to play for the Rams again. And then obviously came back into it when the trade deadline passed. Not a good look.
I only got about 3 carries, which was brilliant considering the guy I was playing on fantasy has him.
There you go. But yeah, good win for the Buccaneers. They really, really needed this, and I think we can now cook the Rams. They are finished. It's over. All right, yeah. Sunday Night Football. Titans 17, Chiefs 20.
That's a scoreline that flatters the Titans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Malik Willis, he's not even a project now. He's not, I don't think he's an NFL player.
You think?
No, don't. But is that down to he's got nobody to throw to?
I'd have to disagree with you there. I think that.
However, before it. Me and you, your wife, my wife, and my 5-year-old child, we had the same amount of targets combined as the Titans wide receivers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why play wide receivers?
Yeah, just revolutionize the offense and bring out 8 offensive linemen. Just have Derrick Henry run the ball with a little laterals all play.
Yeah, and him and Hilliard. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The discrepancy between the 2 quarterbacks was very, very clear. I think Patrick Mahomes completed 43 passes, was it? So it's 38 more passes. 38 more passes than Malik Willis attempted. Sorry, not attempted, completed. And Patrick Mahomes threw the ball 69 times. Nice. Compared to 16 times for Malik Willis. That's 53
Yeah,
more attempts. What?
Yeah. Yeah. There's the Titans are obviously just trying to run the ball now, and teams have sussed that. They need to get Ryan Tannehill back and get him back fast.
You see, it's all well and good that everybody's sussed that the Titans are going to run the ball, but it's still an easier task. It's easier said than done stopping Derrick Henry. And, this game was in doubt for a long time. The Titans were winning. Derrick Henry was doing his thing. But Malik Willis not completing a pass to a wide receiver, that kind of limited offense forces the defense to try and hold the Chiefs, and it's just not a sustainable plan.
But they did a good job.
It's one of those things. It's just another moral victory, and that doesn't put you in the win column. So yeah, but the Titans will still be up there. I think they'll still win that division if Ryan Tannehill can get back ASAP.
Yeah, I mean, Titans, even if they lose next week, right, they'll win the week after. So the next time I'll get to see the Titans is on Thursday Night Football.
Here you go.
I'm actually quite excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like looking at different teams because, like, the Texans, we haven't seen much of them. I got to see them.
Yep.
Haven't seen much of the Falcons or the Panthers, really. I'll get to see them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of these teams.
For sure. An interesting one, regardless. But, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, what more can be said about him? 446 passing yards, score. He did have a pick, but doesn't matter. No. He was excellent on the ground. He converted a 3rd and 17 on the ground. It's a 20-yard scramble. Later that drive, he had a touchdown run along with the game-tying 2-point conversion, and then obviously they won in overtime. So a little bit more, a little bit more nerve-wracking for the Chiefs than they'd like. And, by this logic, if this was the Vikings that had won a game like this, I'd be slating them. So I've got to give the Chiefs some punches here. That's concerning for me if I was a Chiefs fan, with how limited that quarterback on the other side was. You've got to be doing better here. And it's you can make a list of pros and cons or positives and negatives that both teams have. And this is a game I would put in the negatives column for the Chiefs, because against a better team in the playoffs, they would have been. Yep, they would have. I think if this game is in Nashville in the playoffs, for example, I doubt it will be, but maybe it's a different story.
Okay.
So concerning for the Chiefs there. But regardless, they did win, and I have to be fair. The Vikings would be getting mullered by me right now if that happened to them. So, I mean, it technically did almost, but
yeah,
can't be biased. Right then, let's finish it up. Monday Night Football: Ravens 27, Saints 13. Ravens defense is scarily legit. Justin Houston's playing like his hair's on fire this season. 3 straight games with at least 2 sacks. Finished with 2.5 in the game, and he had a late interception to seal the deal.
Yeah. No, he didn't. Did he get the interception?
Yeah, he did get the interception, yeah.
No interception taken off the board.
Is it?
No. He did get it. It was the fumble. That was it. Sorry. My mistake.
That's all right.
I was trying to... I'm trying to think back, because I watched every snap again, and I'm just trying to think of the good points for the Saints, but there was none.
Yeah.
I did find one. I've got one. When Eric McCoy went off and they moved Ruiz to centre and Throckmorton to right guard, they gave Andy Dalton time.
Yeah.
With time, Andy Dalton's brilliant. And I mean that. He is brilliant. But he needs time, and he needs people to throw to, and he's not got either.
I think that this was not a good performance by Andy Dalton, despite having time. He went 19 for 29, 210 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He missed several wide open receivers, including Marquez Callaway late in the first half. They really, really could have done with a score there. Maybe that flips this game on its head. Yeah. Alvin Kamara can't operate this offense by himself. I think he had about 30 yards on however many carries it was. I can't remember. Yeah. So, they've been easing Jameis Winston back into it. And I've been saying that, Andy Dalton's the better option. But in a performance like this, it's the lesser of two evils. What do you really want to roll with? And do you really want to be flip-flopping? Because, Jameis Winston's more exciting to watch. He's got a better arm. He can throw it, 60 yards downfield. But, if he's turned the ball over 4 times, I don't think you're really going to get that from Andy Dalton. You're just going to get inefficiency instead of really bad mistakes.
There was a few times in the game, there was Saints receivers open and stuff. Ravens ran the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless of all the plays, that wasn't the highlight of my night.
Yeah.
When Lamar Jackson lost the plot. I think it was Harbaugh called a timeout because the clock was running.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because what happens is Ronnie Stanley taps Linderbaum to go snap it.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't, and it was delay of game was called, and he just went mental. I would have thrown the flag 15 yards for petulant teenager.
Aye.
And then they operated in the Superdome, which is the loudest venue in the league.
Mm-hmm.
A clap to snap policy.
Yeah, the silent count, yeah.
No, he clapped. He actually, you heard the clap.
Oh, yeah?
He stood behind the centre and did that.
Oh, well.
May as well just walk over to the defence and go, lads, I'm going to snap it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no matter what you think about this Ravens offense, I think this was their most impressive performance on the season so far. They had 11-play, 76-yard touchdown drive in their second possession. They had this included 3 third-down conversions, and Isaiah Likely caught a touchdown pass in absence of Mark Andrews. So that's good for them. And, they turned it around quick. Do you know what I mean?
And Justin Tucker only kicked 8 points.
There you go. Exactly.
Which is great because my opponent needed 11 to win the game.
Yeah, great win for the Ravens. I don't think it's hard to say because at any point you'd think that this could go one way or the other. But I think that the Jets have got the best defense in the league. Ravens are right behind them, and then maybe a team like the Eagles are there as well.
Giants
defense is good. Dallas Cowboys defense is good as well.
Yep.
So
Minnesota's offense is brilliant.
Hmm?
Minnesota's offense is awesome.
Yes. Sometimes.
At 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Right then. Well, that just about does it for this episode of the End of the Fourth Football Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Our YouTube channel has been getting a little bit more views recently, so subscribe, like, comment, give us a message if you want to come on the show. We're always looking for people to come preview Sunday Night Football with us. And if you want to review one of the primetime games with us as well, we're very happy for you to come on. As a reminder, I did say I would say this, there will be no video show for week 10, just because I'm in America. Chris will be editing the show. So we're not going to be video recording, but I will be up and about, and you'll see different different backgrounds for me recording. Well, you will, Chris. The viewers won't. Yeah. So that's it. So check us out on Facebook. That's End of the Fourth Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, which is at End of the Fourth. That's 4th. On Instagram, it's the same thing, but instead of 4th, it's the word fourth. I don't know why I did that the other way around this time, but we'll roll with it.
Hey, cool.
And then, as Chris said, check them out. Check out Let's Talk Sport Network on Twitter. They're at Let Talk Sport, and their YouTube channel will be linked in the description down below. You can click on them. They go live every day. The multitude of shows: NFL, MLB, NBA. Obviously, started back up a couple of weeks ago. NHL, Association Football. I'm sure they'll be doing some stuff for the World Cup. All right, quick, Chris. Who's your World Cup prediction? Who's going to win it?
Belgium.
Yeah.
I've done it. I did it last night. Belgium to win. Lukaku top goal scorer. 150-1.
Very nice. Very nice.
But if Belgium don't win it, then football's coming home.
Nah, no way. No way.
I couldn't resist that one.
I'm going to say Brazil will win it. I think.
Well, they're the favourites.
I think they, they've got two world-class players in every position. But yeah, that was it. So yeah, no video show next week. It'll just be audio show. So make sure you check out the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And from the Prez.
Yep, Prez.
And from me, B-Hizzy, ciao for now.